They said they're building the biggest refinery in the world. I say they're hiding a massacre. If America strikes, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet.
Even a slight change in mass or velocity could have easily thrown it off course, yet this companion object moved with flawless precision as if guided by a deliberately engineered system. Spectroscopic analysis revealed that its surface reflected almost no sunlight, indicating it was composed of material designed to absorb energy rather than scatter it. But what truly astonished scientists was the faint microwave radiation it emitted, a low-frequency signal consistent with active thermoregulation. In simpler terms, the object was cooling itself, a phenomenon never before observed in any comet or iceberg throughout recorded astronomy. The discovery sparked quiet alarm within the scientific community. Leaked documents from multiple agencies revealed that the pair had been reclassified under a new name, the Threshy Atlas Complex. The term complex implied intelligent design, not random formation. Engineers likened its structure to an array of artificial satellites only centuries more advanced. Some even theorized that the smaller object was controlling the larger one, subtly adjusting its trajectory and speed through mechanisms far beyond human comprehension. Researchers from Harvard and Tokyo soon put forth daring hypotheses. They proposed that 3I Atlas might not be a comet at all, but an interstellar structure capable of stabilizing its orbit using energy feedback. The smaller companion could serve as a power unit, guidance module, or even a probe silently observing humanity's reaction to its arrival. None of these theories were ever officially confirmed, but they quietly spread through encrypted research networks. The more data scientists examined, the clearer one unsettling conclusion became design when a segment of James Webb Space Telescope data briefly leaked online before being deleted. One image was saved and circulated. It showed geometric reflections, edges to sharp, lines to straight, shapes that nature never creates. For those who saw it, the implication was chilling. 3I Atlas was not a random cosmic wanderer. It was something constructed, and if it wasn't alone, a terrifying question emerged. What was the second object waiting for? After weeks of silence, the turning point arrived. 3I Atlas finally transmitted a message. A concentrated beam of radio energy pierced the cosmic background, precisely aimed at Earth. The transmission lasted only 12 seconds. But it changed everything. Unlike natural radio noise, which is scattered and irregular, this signal was ordered and repetitive. Its waveform displayed mathematically perfect cycles. The beam was tightly focused along Earth's ecliptic plane, as though the sender knew our exact position. Radio observatories across China, Australia, and South Africa simultaneously recorded the same signal. Its central frequency matched hydrogen's spectral line, the universal element humans have long used for interstellar communication. Whoever or whatever sent it had deliberately chosen a frequency we could understand. The revelation sent shockwaves through the global scientific community. When converted into a visual spectrum, the signal revealed 6 perfect hexagons surrounding a single dark center. The symmetry was far too precise to be natural. Astronomers compared it to earlier James Webb data from the 3I Atlas complex, and the shapes aligned exactly. It appeared that the transmission was a coded self-portrait, the object sending an image of its own form. This was not random interference, it was a structured message. And within that message lay deliberate meaning. Some theorists believe the pattern depicted orbital harmony, a cosmic map of resonant energy systems. Others pointed out something more unsettling. The sun was missing, the central void perfectly aligned with 3I Atlas's position, suggesting the signal was proclaiming that the true center of the solar system was no longer the sun. Speculation erupted. Some physicists proposed that the object was performing system-wide synchronization, calibrating itself to the solar system like an instrument tuning before a grand performance. Harvard's Avi Loeb described it as a cosmic overture before the real symphony begins. Governments quickly stepped in, classifying all data and dismissing the incident publicly as transient radio noise. But those who had seen the raw recordings knew better. The burst was deliberate. It was communication, precise and intentional, from something that clearly understood both energy and purpose. Then, just as abruptly as it began, the signal ceased, the frequency band went silent. 3i Atlas was quiet once more. Chak said, "They have killed over 2,000 Muslim worshippers and around 1,500 Christians. These numbers prove that Boko Haram is not fighting a religious war. They are terrorists who attack everyone, spreading chaos and fear without discrimination." Yet Trump's message simplified this complex reality into a single, emotional headline: Christian genocide. It's a story that sounds dramatic and easy to believe but hides the truth. It divides Nigerians along religious lines when, in reality, both Muslims and Christians are suffering together. The truth is that Nigeria's violence isn't rooted in faith, it's driven by poverty, weak governance, land disputes, and extremism, problems that bombs and speeches cannot solve. When Western leaders and media describe Nigeria's crisis as Muslims killing Christians, they ignore the full picture and, worse, hand Boko Haram exactly what it wants: division. Because when Christians and Muslims see each other as enemies, the terrorists win. But when Nigerians unite, the terrorists lose power. Trump's framing doesn't protect anyone. It only weakens the fragile unity that Nigeria needs most right now. If you look back at history, a strange and painful pattern begins to appear, one that repeats itself again and again. Every time an African or Middle Eastern nation starts to take control of its own resources, something suddenly goes wrong. There's talk of a crisis. Powerful nations begin to intervene in the name of peace or human rights, but somehow, the outcome is always the same. The country loses its independence, and its wealth slips back into foreign hands. It happened in Libya when Muammar Gaddafi tried to create a single African currency backed by gold, a move that could have freed the continent from the US dollar. Soon after, NATO bombed Libya to protect civilians, Gaddafi was killed, and Libya fell into chaos. It happened in Iraq when Saddam Hussein proposed selling oil in euros instead of dollars. Within years, the US invaded, claiming there were weapons of mass destruction that never existed. The same story unfolded in Afghanistan, Syria, and, now eerily, the same language is being used about Nigeria. Nigeria was never seen as a threat when it was exporting crude oil and importing refined fuel, but now, after building the world's largest refinery, it has suddenly become dangerous. It's almost as if the moment Africa tries to stand on its own feet, someone steps in to knock it down. The excuse changes. Sometimes it's terrorism, sometimes religion, sometimes democracy, but the motive stays the same: control. Control over oil, gas, gold, markets, and power. That's why Nigeria must study history carefully, because once you recognize the pattern, you realize this isn't about saving lives. It's about preserving global systems of power that depend on Africa staying weak. In the heart of West Africa, a young man decided to break that pattern. His name is Ibrahim Traoré, the 34-year-old leader of Burkina Faso, when he rose to power. Many expected him to continue the same old story: foreign troops, Western influence, endless promises of aid. But Traoré did something that stunned the world. He expelled all French soldiers from his country. No delay, no half measures, just a bold declaration that Burkina Faso could defend its own land. For decades, France had maintained military bases across its former colonies, claiming to fight terrorism. Yet the terrorists remained, poverty deepened, and France still controlled key resources. Traoré said enough. He told his people that true independence means control, not just over your flag or anthem, but over your economy, your army, and your destiny. Yet Traoré was not reckless. He didn't isolate his nation. Instead, he built new alliances, with Russia for defense, with China for infrastructure, with Turkey for technology, and with the Gulf for funding, but always on Burkina Faso's own terms. He rejected foreign military bases and refused the IMF's demands to cut education and healthcare spending. "We will not destroy our people just to please creditors," he declared. Though Burkina Faso faces inflation, sanctions, and constant threats, its people stand by him. Because they see something new: dignity. Traoré proved that an African nation can say no to the world's most powerful countries and still survive. For Nigeria, his story is a powerful lesson. If a small nation like Burkina Faso can stand tall, imagine what a giant like Nigeria could achieve with its oil industries and 200 million citizens. Traoré's courage is the blueprint for Africa's freedom, and here lies one of the oldest tricks in human history: divide and rule. When outsiders seek control, they don't always use weapons. Sometimes they use beliefs. Religion in Africa has long been manipulated as a tool of division. Centuries ago, Islam arrived through trade, and Christianity through colonization. Both brought deep spiritual truths, but both were also exploited to separate Africans from one another. Missionaries told Africans to focus on heaven while their land and gold were taken on earth. Later, colonial powers drew artificial borders, maps, and laws that split tribes, faiths, and families apart. And now, in the 21st century, the same tactic is resurfacing when Trump